I just wanted to remember how this detail was set up. Not that I'm ever going to build one of these, but I thought that was kind of clever. So it pivots from here instead of from the bottom. Or car. I'm like walking past and it's like, oh, check that out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It probably would have been pretty stable, but not taken very much force to take it over center to tip it. I'll bet. Huh. Oh, yeah. And the tracks, if they would have had a ramp that the track hit, it would flip it automatically. Yeah. Alright, it looks kind of sad out here all by itself. Oh, I don't know if this will show up or not. I put one new pedal on, but I haven't put the other one on yet. Yeah. Still got the old wheel. We'll get back to it. Sit rep. Oh yeah, haircut. And a shavy thing. Yeah, I think I said it on the last video. I bought the clippers and I thought about it. I'm like, I don't want to do that to housekeeping because there's no way I'll catch all the hair and it'll end up in the carpet and then they'll be mad. So there was a great clips right across the street. Oh man, you should have seen the pile of hair. It was like, oh, look at all the gray ones. She's like, no, silver. All right, yeah, silver. Try this again. Okay, it's April 18, 2022. That makes it a Monday. Not much riding today. Well, a little bit. I rode it to the bike shop and back. So I felt bad for the guy. That had to be really frustrating for him. I mean, it is what it is, but it was like a 26-inch mountain bike wheel has got to be the most common thing on earth. And he didn't have one in stock. He had a whole bunch of 700s, which, don't fit. Would be a neat upgrade, but wouldn't fit. So we got a new wheel coming from California. He didn't have just the bare rim either. So 1 to 2 days and shipping. Husband and wife running the shop. Really neat people. This was just awesome. Walking into a shop like that and having them come out, because I was like, hey, can you look at the bike and give me an idea? Can you do a disc brake conversion for the rear wheel? Okay, sure. Because he knows what to look for and what he has, and okay, it's easier than me trying to explain it to him. All right, he comes out and he just like, whoa, wait a minute. He goes inside, waves to the wife, come out here. And we just sat there and geeked out for, I swear, 20 minutes on a Monday morning. And I know he was like between customers and the phone was ringing and everything, but they were really, super enthusiastic about, about checking out the bike. It wasn't just, I felt like they weren't just being polite. It was like, yeah, this was kind of neat. So not something they'd seen before. So fun. Yeah. And you talk to, most people, if they look at the bike, they don't see the details as much. And until you've built bikes or fixed bikes, you wouldn't necessarily realize how important some of those just stupid little things are, or how challenging it is to do it. So it was neat talking to somebody who could appreciate that, I guess. Yeah, anyway. So my bike does not have the brackets for disc brakes, so just not an option. Okay. So then I pointed at the front disc brake that I welded the tabs for the calipers, and he's like, well, they're not set up for fabrication at this shop, but he thought that was pretty cool. So he's like, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, yeah, I really wanted to bring the MIG welder, but I couldn't justify the weight, and that was kind of fun. Anyway, so yeah, 1 to 2 days for the wheel. It's going to be a complete wheel. Hub spokes, rim. I don't think it's got the I always call it a cassette, but there's two setups for the rear sprockets. One is cassette and one is freewheel. I think mine is freewheel, so where you got 6 or 7 sprockets that spin on as one piece. Yeah, anyway, whatever that is. So I think I'll take mine off of this wheel and put it on the other wheel. So what I'm looking at, the rim is shot, it's not worth saving. but I've got almost all new spokes on that rim now. So what I'm going to do once I have the new wheel is I'll sit here and I'll break it down. What's left of the rim I'll throw in the dumpster, and I'll save all of my spokes, and I'll also save the hub because the hub is still good. And then later on, if I needed to, I could go like on eBay and just get the outer rim itself and then re-thread it. Would be an option. Okay. Pedals, I had one of the pedals. I don't know if the bearing just completely failed or if it's because I've been laying the bike on its side, but it had sand in the bearings. So one pedal just smooth as can be, and the other one sounds like just really bad arthritis or something like that. It was like grind. So I got a new set of pedals. That's good. I got a new set of brake pads because that was part of why that wheel got so messed up is the brake pads were really old and really hard, and part of the metal was sticking out, and so it just shredded the wheel. Okay. When I go back, when the wheel comes in, probably tomorrow or the next day, then I'll pick up a new set of tubes. I'm going to use the tires I got. So one of the things I can do today is my spare tire has thorns in it. So I'll bring it, I'll probably take a chair outside or something like that and sit there with a knife and dig out all the thorns so that when I get a new tube, I can put the new tire on the new wheel, or put the good tire on the new wheel with the new tube, and then we'll be set. There has not been any place, except for when I camped at the river and the lake, the first two campsites, this hotel and the other hotel, has been the only place I've had access to any kind of water that I could use to check my tubes to find the leaks. Right? If you're only carrying a gallon of water, it's a big, sacrifice to say you're going to waste some of your drinking water trying to find the leaks in your tires. Something I had thought of doing was taking, because like at home I've got a spray bottle that I put dishwashing detergent in and mixed it down with water, so it's fairly watered down. So when I'm doing my dishes at home, I just spray a little bit of soap on them, wipe them off, and then rinse them. You don't use near as much water that way, which is important living off-grid in the desert. So I was going to bring something like that, but it was too big, and I never took the time to find a really little bottle that I could have put a little bit of soap in, because all you had to do is spray the soap suds, and that would blow bubbles, right? What I end up doing instead is I carry a few extra tubes that I've tested that were good. And so if I do have a flat tire and the sealant doesn't work, then I can just swap tubes, but at the same time pull the tire off, carefully inspect it, find all the thorns, dig them all out. Somewhere between Walmart yesterday and today, I got a piece of wire stuck in the front tire, so that was leaking. I pulled the wire out, I pumped the tire up, I picked the bike up, I spun it a few times, just hit the throttle, let the wheel spin a few times. It's nearly sealed already, so I'm not going to have to patch that one probably. But that's the thing, is you got to find the thorn or what's in the tire first, get it out, then the sealant will start to work. Let's see, I was at the bike shop just a few minutes after 9, talked to a few people while I was there. It was just kind of fun. Hit the Walmart since it was right there, grabbed some more root beer, because, survival food, right? A bag of chips. Breakfast buffet here is like $7 or $8. Oh man, awesome. Yeah, loaded up on proteins again. I'm eating in a meal probably as much food as I normally get all day on the road, so we're definitely making up for that. I've got the room for tonight, and it's looking like I'm going to have to be here for a couple more days. So with some of the PayPal and YouTube money that's coming through, I think we got it covered. It's just kind of like been 50 or $100 comes in a day, and it almost all goes out by the next day, because I'm like, okay, reloading on Walmart, and then pedals are $35. Well, kind of need them, and I don't need premium pedals, but you need something that's actually here. Okay, so you got to buy it, and it's like, in the moment, I'm so used to buying the cheapest things I can find on eBay. But man, is it nice to find a little community with a bike shop that is owned by a family that is very enthusiastic. While I was waiting to talk to them, they were talking to somebody else, and the owner of the shop, the husband, is doing triathlons. All right, so he's definitely living the bike world, dream or whatever. So, yeah, not a corporate place that they hire a $14 an hour guy to put wheels together. These guys are actually doing really high end stuff. That's what made it so funny when I walked in there. I walk in and like, okay, Bosch, $3,000, $5,000 electric bikes. But at the same time, they looked at what I had done on my own, and they were, it wasn't like they were looking down at me. They were like, wow, this is really cool. So that was kind of neat. I'm like, you walk into a place like that and you're like, I'm at the big people table and I feel like a little kid, but yeah, it was a good experience overall. Yeah, sadly, I mean, the guy said, hey, normally a 26-inch wheel, there should have been a dozen of them there. Okay, Easter weekend, we're just coming into spring, you could see there was just piles of stuff everywhere. They had orders coming in and going out, and yeah, so it's just, okay, your most common thing is the 26-inch wheel. He just sold the last one or whatever. So yeah, it's what it is. There was some discussion on the comments. I should go in and videotape, everything. And one, as a person who has been a mechanic in the past, no, I do not want to bother somebody in their shop. I mean, sometimes it'll be okay, but it's just really awkward. And it wasn't a very big shop. They were in a strip mall. The website, it looked like it was bigger, but they didn't have very much room. So just walking around in there, no, it would have been really awkward and rude to take up space in the middle of their workshop doing anything like that. And as it turns out, because they were busy, and again, it would be rude to walk in there and ask him to just drop all of his customers and help me, especially if I didn't have the cash to say I'll pay $100, priority fee or something like that. So he's ordering in a wheel for me. It wasn't worth. What we discussed is if I can get the room for $30, it doesn't make sense for me to have him rush order a wheel and cost more than what it would cost me to sit here for another day. Right. So it's like you try to be nice about that kind of thing. And so I'll be doing the work. He'll get the wheel for me. I'll build it up myself. Right. I mean, it'll be assembled. Hopefully he can throw it on the truing stand and make sure it's round. And then after that, I'll put the tire on and the tubes and all, And I felt good about helping support the shop by buying what I needed instead of asking for sponsorship, right? In a small community, they're probably doing okay, but I can't imagine they have huge margin. So it's better to support a small business than it is to try to nickel and dime them on everything. So. Yeah. Anyway, so in Mesquite, Nevada, all in cycles on Pioneer Boulevard. But yeah, super nice people. Yeah. And it was fun. It was like, we just sat there and geeked out for a while. It was a good time. So the part that's going to bug me is there's no wind today either. So yesterday, no wind. Today, virtually no wind. I'll get a bike put together and then it'll be a 70-mile-an-hour headwind again or something stupid like that. That's life on the road. It's not like, you plan for a marathon that happens one day. It's weeks, months. This will be months. So, and as a rolling prototype, as I break things, I'll have to stop and fix them. I didn't have time in the beginning. I was hoping to do 100-mile test rides on this thing. The first test ride was the 100 miles to El Paso when I tore the front brakes off. Yeah. And then went home with no brakes. You do what you can. It's like, well, here it is. I'm going to need a different backdrop pretty soon. Anyway, I was looking through some stuff, and I'm like, I know there's something I'm forgetting, and it's going to bug me when suddenly I could leave, and I'm like, oh, there's this one thing I was going to do the next time I had internet and something to sit on at the same time. Anyway, I just wanted to say a quick heads up. If on this video and probably on future videos, I'm going to put together a list of all of the people who are sponsoring me, and that includes YouTube members, Patreon, PayPal donations that are coming off of the website. And I'm trying to figure out if there's an easy way that I can go through and find all the super thanks. Anyway, if for some reason you decide you don't want to be listed as a sponsor, I know some people like to be anonymous, let me know and I can edit the list for later. I asked about this once about a year ago, and everybody seemed like they were okay with it, but I know there's a whole bunch of new people watching now and supporting me. So, but yeah, that was about it. I ran a couple errands today, and I've really just kind of sat here and chilled, which was nice. It was pretty warm today, and this is typical for where I live in Texas, and pretty much going forward, I guess. It went from my water bottle freezing solid overnight a couple of nights. My Camelback was frozen. I couldn't get any water out of it. Yeah, I had to put I took one of the more empty water bottles and set it out in the sun when I first woke up. And by the time I left camp, I had enough water to brush my teeth. And that was it. It was like I had to ride for an hour before I could even get a drink because the bottles were frozen solid. Thankfully, the Camelback bottles are really pretty strong. This is one of the old ones. This one I took on the Alaska trip, and it was down in Belize when I went down to Belize. So I've had that one for quite a while. It's one of my few pieces of legacy gear, I think. I've moved so many times I don't often keep things for very long, so it's kind of funny when I look at that. Yeah. That was on the Alaska trip. Cool. Oh yeah, what I was starting to say is the water bottles froze, and then now it's in the 90s and probably in the 50s overnight instead of in the 20s and 30s overnight. Just that fast. Some of it I did drop a lot of elevation. I was in the 6,000, 7,000 foot range. I think I'm now in the 1,500 to 2,000 foot range, something like that. And then once we get to San Francisco, we'll be basically at sea level. So that would make a difference, but it's also just that last cold snap before springs. Yeah, just like that. So, and that was kind of one of the things, like when I was packing, I was like, I want to take some winter stuff just in case. I mean, not full winter, but just survive a freezing night. And then all of a sudden it's going to be really warm. And it's like today I'm wearing my, I don't know if this is microfiber or whatever. It's a Dickies brand shirt. I got the silver one because it reflects a lot of the heat and it breathes a little bit. It's super comfortable in heat. And the cotton t-shirts I wear when it was cold, right? So now I can start wearing these again. Yeah, these are a lot better for biking. Oh, this was something I did want to point out. It was just a really good reminder. When I went to the bike shop this morning, I had unloaded the army cot, the sleeping bag, the two backpacks full of clothes. I left the tools and the tire pump and the batteries on the trailer, and that was basically it. So like in the corner of the room over here, I've got just this huge pile of all of the stuff that came off of the bike. Yeah, so it was, oh man, the bike was so nimble and quick and easy to ride. I was like, this is wonderful. It's gonna suck when I have to put it all back on there. But it was just a good reminder because I'm like, okay, so when I get to the sun trip, I can say, all right, go bare metal. What's the least amount of stuff that I need to survive for 5 or 6 days, right? In California. Now anything could happen, but by the end of May, snowstorms are pretty unlikely. Okay, so I could definitely lighten the load there. Yeah, probably gonna be here tomorrow night still, and I'll post something tomorrow again, just quick status update. Either basically it'll be either the wheel is here or the wheel isn't here yet. I got the basic route kind of figured out, so the map I put on the end of the videos is about the same. Pretty close. Yeah, whatever. Okay, that's it. No more talking. Bye for now.